Hey friend, this is episode number 536 of the And So podcast with Taylor Bradford. Let's get to it. Boss Girl Creative presents And So with Taylor Bradford, business and life musings from a successful serial entrepreneur. Each week, you will hear Taylor spill the tea on all things business, life, relationships, health, and everything in between. But don't worry, each week also includes a business nugget that will help you stay on course. And now a throwback to 3-year-old Taylor who inspired all of this.
And so.
Hello, welcome to this episode. I'm your host, Taylor Bradford. Thank you so much for being here. This is episode number 536. And hey, I just want to remind you that if you've been feeling scattered or unsure where to focus in your business, I made you something. It's called the Clarity Catch-Up. It's a free workbook, little mini workbook, and it's a quick guide to help you pause, get grounded, and figure out your next right step. And you can grab it for free. Go to bossgirlcreative.com/clarity to pick it up. And I will also link it in the show notes so you have access to it there as well. So if you're feeling that, I feel you. And yep, it's available to you for free. bossgirlcreative.com/clarity to grab a copy. So let's dive into the topics, shall we? So I have slowly been pulling out all of the old stuff out of the garden. Like I got my dahlias out for the most part. I have like a tiny section that I still have to weed. And then yesterday I spent time getting the beans out, or the peas. I don't remember what I actually planted there is, but a combination of beans and peas. So I got that all pulled out yesterday and mostly weeded. I have a small section and another row right next to it that I will be working on. And then really my next big step, because yesterday Bootstrap Farmer delivered my pest mesh and these clamps that I'm going to be using on PVC pipes. That was delivered yesterday. And so I will be able to get my broccoli in the ground probably this weekend. And I have, how many broccoli plants do I have? I have quite a few. And then I also started more, but I need to get some growth to them a little bit more and then start hardening them off so I can prep them to go in the ground, because I did a succession planting of them so that I could have broccoli kind of like all cooler season, because broccoli sort of is a one and done plant that I learned last fall and didn't know. It's all an experiment. So I've been clearing out weeds. I got a bunch of weeds out of one section of my watermelons. And I had a really great conversation. I recently followed, or maybe she followed me, a New Orleans gardener. And I think I saw her talk about her eggplants. And I was like, I don't really know much about eggplant. And I have them in my garden. And I actually seed started more, hoping that I could sell a few starts. But anyways, I didn't. And so I went ahead and just stuck them in some containers at the shop. And so I was like, I've never harvested eggplant. I did harvest one thinking it was ready. And I think it was ready. But I was like, hey, can you tell me about your eggplant? What variety are you growing and how big are you letting them get before you harvest? So we had a nice lengthy chat about that. And then she noticed I was growing loofah. And so we had a nice lengthy chat about that. I guess somebody sent her some free loofah seeds and they told her it would take 9 months. And I was like, no, I don't think so. And so I went back and documented everything from all the videos and photos that I've taken since starting. And there's about a 4-month period from seed start to getting the loofah where it's starting to dry out on the plant. And I was like, no, you have 4 months. And I think she's got the right window to do it because she planted them out a while ago, but not in like springtime. So really great to connect with other people, especially in the South, where you can have those kinds of conversations. And I'm only just slightly jealous that she has a much longer growth season than I do. Like her last frost is like February and her first frost is December. So she's only got like a 2-month window, whereas our last frost is about early November, and my first frost, or that's my first frost, early November. My last frost is like late March. So I've got I have like 4 months of, I can still grow, but things get super dicey, especially when you have hard freezes. And that's what they're predicting for us in January. They're predicting a 2013-2014 winter, and that was not a fun winter, although I enjoyed the snow part of that. Yeah, so we shall see. I mean, everybody called for a super hot summer, and I think we've had less than 5 100-degree days, which is so weird for us. So maybe we're in for a wicked winter. Who knows? Who knows? So it's been fun connecting with another gardener, especially somebody in the South. So I look forward to being able to just follow her journey and see what she's up to. Okay, so let's get into books. I actually finished 2 between last week and now. I finished The Man Who Died Twice, Richard Osman, book number 2 in the Thursday Murder Club series. Love that series. I inadvertently already read book 3, not knowing I wasn't reading book 2. I don't know how I did that, but anyways, I went back and read book 2. So good. Series is so good. And then I'm waiting on book 4, which I believe comes out this month. So it's already like add to cart at my library. Like I'm waiting for it. I'm in line. I also finished American Duchess, a novel of Consuelo Vanderbilt. So Consuelo, if you think about the Vanderbilt lineage, she was the granddaughter of the main Vanderbilt, who was the railroad guy. He is the one that built the Vanderbilt fortune, and Consuelo was a granddaughter of him. I gave it a 4-star. The novel was written by Karen Harper. I gave it 4 stars just because I didn't know anything about her, but I was really hoping it went into her. Like it was really more of a lineage and where she fell within like the scope of history. And she ended up marrying into the Marlborough family, not the cigarettes, but in England. And she basically became into the family that had the same lineage as Winston Churchill. So she became really close with Winston Churchill after she married into the Marlborough family. And that part was interesting, kind of hearing that side of the story and how they were able to get out of the UK and out of Europe when World War II started. And so that was interesting. I believe they ended up in West Palm Beach, Florida. And she ended up divorcing the Marlborough man and then marrying a French man. And I believe that part of the story was a little hazy, but that was really her true love, not who she was forced to marry, which was interesting because we're talking about the Gilded Age. That's that time period in history, and people were still routinely partnered up because it benefited monetarily somehow. And so that was interesting to have that kind of curtain pullback, but I wish I would have learned more about her likes, what she championed. I feel like that was like kind of dabbled in, like she started a hospital for children before the war. It was like after Germany invaded once and then they were beaten and then Hitler came to power and then World War II happened. Like between that, like timeline, she built a children's hospital. And I don't know once she made it back to the States, because she was an American, when she made it back to the States, what all her philanthropy was, what all she did. And I feel like that book kind of missed out on that part. Anyways, 4 stars because I did learn about somebody I didn't know anything about, and this was historical fiction. All right, let's move into the house. I was right. We didn't start last week, and it does not look like we're starting this week, but who knows when we'll actually start. And I am getting an exterior door quote from Home Depot. I'm really hoping that they can pull through and not kind of beat me up like Lowe's did. So that's my house update. And I am having a meeting, forgot to write this down, with a landscape company that is founded by a female in Fort Worth. And I really enjoyed. I don't know how I stumbled on her Instagram account, but I have really thoroughly enjoyed watching her growth journey and really am excited to potentially partner with her on starting my landscaping for the pond. So we just got our water pump so that we can pump out some of the pond water so that we can actually finally fix the rest of the pond. And then I want to move into that phase of getting it landscaped the right way and then creating an overall plan for the house and everything kind of just in that area, our fire pit and all of that. And today I have to call the rock quarry, the rock quarry to find out how much the stone that I want, how much that's going to be and whether or not I can pick it up or I need to have it trucked in. So that's where we are in the house. I'm really looking forward to the site visit next week from the landscaper. I'm excited to work with a female and to see what she envisions and dreams up and getting to work with her through that process based on what my goals are for the area, etc. So that is the house. Let's get into this week's Search Bar Confessions. I really need a little jingle right there. All right, so I Googled last week canning lemons. So I ended up buying 38 pounds of lemons, organic lemons from Azure Standard. It was my first time to ever purchase through them. And I have been juicing lemons like a mad woman. Not really. It just feels like it. So that we can have fresh lemonade. And yeah, so I wanted to know, can I actually can the lemon juice or is it even going to last long enough for me to can? Because it takes a lot of lemons to get lemonade, a decent amount at least. So, and then I also wanted to know more about limoncello because you take the actual rind of the lemon, not the pith, not the white part, but the rind, and then you soak it in vodka for an extended period of time, very similar to making vanilla extract. And this is really more I guess this first step is lemon extract, but then there's another step and then you wait more time, 5-6 more months, and then you get limoncello. So anyways, I have been in the land of lemons. That is what I've been Googling. I also, last week, the horrific assassination of Charlie Kirk. I had no idea who Charlie Kirk was, so I went down the rabbit hole of that. I also Googled cortisol supplements because we're perimenopausal over here, and that's what I'm Googling. I also Googled more about the Vanderbilt family because of the book I was reading, lymphatic system and supplementation for that because, yep, we are there. Googling that, let me turn the page. I also Googled strawberry simple syrup recipe, Frigidaire column set as seen in a reel. Oh, I went down the rabbit hole for that. And I was like, I'm going to figure out what refrigerator this girl has. And it took me several deep dives into her Instagram where she actually shared what it was. And so that's what I Googled. And then I saw a fish and chips recipe on someone else's reel. And then I went down the rabbit hole of trying to find that recipe from her. Best flour for pasta. I found another Instagram account teaching me how to do a single serving of pasta for myself. And then I saw somebody making tomato soup on Instagram. So I went down that rabbit hole. And then it was finally time to sign up for the fall 2025 Tighter Together challenge through the Moves app and Madeline Moves. So I am looking for an accountability partner because I need to get my butt back in gear with working out consistently. I haven't for over 6 months, and it's just been one excuse after the other. And shame on me because that's what I used to do, but I am human. So if you're interested, the challenge runs 5 weeks. It's starting in the next week or two. And yeah, it's $50 for non-subscribers and $30 for subscribers of the app, which I am a subscriber of the Moves app. And there you have it. That wraps up this week's Search Bar Confessions. Now let's dive into the business nugget, which I have to be honest, I'm really struggling right now, and I know that there's grief kind of pushing this with the loss of my husband's mom and my mother-in-law, and somebody that's been in my life for 20 years or had been in my life for 20 years, which is actually, I started thinking about, okay, when did I meet her? I think I actually met her in 2003, so 22 years in my life. And I had my mom in my life for 24. Like, legitimately, I don't want to use the word trade, but I had my mom for 24 years. And 2 years of that was an overlap with my mother-in-law, although we didn't get married until 2005. I met her in 2003. We got married in 2000. Oh, my bad. I got married in 2006. I lost my mom in 2005. And so then I had my husband's mom, not necessarily as a mom figure, but kind of as a mom figure for the next years. And I haven't had that conversation with my husband because he's still in like the early stages of his grief. And I just find that very interesting. So I know that's what's driving part of where I'm sitting right now. And this week's topic for the business nugget is what I'm still untangling in my business 10 years in. And I feel like there's this duplicity of grief that I am struggling with. And that is from the recent loss of my mother-in-law, but also like 10 years in, you start reflecting. You reflect on the good and the bad, and sometimes the bad feels like it outweighs the good. So here's what I'm sitting with right now. This episode wasn't exactly planned, and it's definitely not polished. I don't have a 5-step strategy or breakthrough to wrap it all in a bow. It's just me sitting here talking to the microphone, talking to you in real time, trying to untangle some things that have been weighing heavy on my heart. And again, it's kind of this duplicity of grief. Because lately I've been feeling like I'm not good enough. And I remember very vividly having this bubble to the surface not that long ago. And I know that feeling doesn't come from truth. I know the work I've done. I know the business I've built, and I know what I bring to the table. But that doesn't stop the questions from creeping in, the spirals, the second guessing. And it's especially loud when someone meets me in person, hears my story, and says, "You're the coolest person I've ever met," which actually just happened. I was on a podcast interview, or I did a podcast interview with a super cool human last week. I'm looking forward to being able to share that conversation and share her business when that comes out. And at the very end, that's what she said to me. And I don't always know how to take that outside of, I grateful to hear it, super grateful. There's definitely no ego driving that for me personally. Super grateful, but then I don't know what to do with it, you know? So again, I receive that with so much gratitude. It does mean like something to me, but then I immediately spiral into, why haven't more people said that? Why hasn't that translated online? What am I missing? It's really the weirdest kind of disconnect to be deeply seen in real life, but still feel invisible in the digital spaces I've shown up in for over a decade. To have people say you're doing everything right and still feel like I'm 10 steps behind. I've never gone viral. I don't have a massive following. And I'm not the person the algorithm favors. And part of that, I think, is because I'm not easy to pin down. I'm not niche in a traditional way. I'm not a formula. I'm a unicorn. And that sounds cute until you're trying to fit it into boxes that weren't made for you. What I'm realizing is that visibility doesn't always come from value. And that's hard to sit with. Because for so long I thought if I just keep showing up, if I keep offering what I know, if I stay consistent, then surely the recognition will come. Surely people will find me. And some have. You press play today. But not to the level I imagined, not to the scale I've worked toward. But also I crave more visibility, more resonance, more people finding this corner of the internet that I've poured myself into. And here's the kicker. I'm scared of what comes with that too. More visibility also means more trolls, more criticism, more noise. And my nervous system is already tired. It's a weird tension to hold, wanting to be seen and fearing what might happen when you are. So I've had to ask myself, can I hold both? Can I want more without shaming myself for not having it yet? Can I protect my peace without hiding my light? The truth is there's no tidy answer. Just a lot of sitting with it, naming it, owning what I want, and letting it be okay that I want it. And also there's this layer of grief for the time I thought would look different by now, for the energy I've poured into spaces that didn't pour back, for the dreams that still haven't unfolded the way I hoped. That doesn't mean I'm giving up. It just means I'm giving myself more grace. I'm reminding myself that slow growth is still growth, that being great at what I do matters, even if it doesn't go viral. That having a story worth telling isn't the same as having an audience ready to hear it, and that's not always within my control. So that's what I'm untangling right now. Not with answers, but with honesty. Not from the other side, but from right here in the thick of it. Here's what I do know. I'm not going to wait to feel worthy. I'm choosing to be worthy even in the fog. I'm still building something I believe in, and maybe I'm not relatable to the masses. Maybe I'm not everyone's cup of tea, but I'm someone's. I'm yours. And for the woman who's out there, quietly doubting her magic because she hasn't gone viral either, this episode is for you. We don't need everyone to see us. We just need the right ones to. And they will. We keep going. Thanks for being here, even when it's messy, especially when it's messy. I so appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. And until next time, I hope you have a great rest of your week.
Let's go.
And like my 3-year-old self said, that is all for this week. Friendly reminder to rate and review my show wherever you are listening. And last but not least, I'd love to hear from you. Leave me an audio message at bossgirlcreative.com/speak. I would love to hear your takeaways, ideas for upcoming episode topics, and your feedback. Thank you again for listening to this week's episode. And until next time, I hope you have a great rest of this one.